You asked the questions. We answer them live right here on Facebook. Got another great submitted question here by David from one of the Facebook groups. Hey, y'all, trying to create an Excel rate matrix and eventually in service autopilot as well. That when upon entering bed square footage, it produces the number of yards of mulch slash hours projected, including the installation. I'd like to do the same for bed weeding as well as pruning and maybe some other services. We were trying to streamline our maintenance estimates. If anyone has anything similar, I'd love to chat. Thanks. Well, David, the good news is we're going to chat live over Facebook, and I'm going to give you the exact step-by-step experts that I used in my seven-figure business, as well as the systems that we use and set up for other service business owners such as yourself. So first thing I do is pop open the screen here and start with the simple growth estimate blueprint. And this blueprint is going to be the answer to David's question of how do we go out and set up the bed square footage for mulch installation and shrub pruning, as well as maybe some bed maintenance. So I'm going to break down the basics here of how we would recommend doing this for any software. And then once we build out the matrices here in a Google Sheet, which basically Excel, how do we get that into a software like Service Autopilot or any other? So first thing I'm going to do is go in and take the first one that Dave wanted to do, and I'm going to do mulch installation. And if you may be wondering, why are we putting this in an Excel sheet? Well, David asked me to put it in an Excel sheet first, but really, David is on to the correct process. We need a blueprint in a Excel sheet and then put it in the software. And the reason being, you'll see here in a few minutes once I put some formulas in here, we want to double check our assumptions for profit percentage on the sheet. So I'm going to show you how we do this. So service name is mulch installation. Custom field or job variable is going to be bed square footage, as David alluded to in his question. And we're going to go in here and let's assume David has a 3-yard minimum and he's putting the mulch in at a 1-inch depth. So that is going to be from 1 to 900 square feet. That's going to cover our 3 yards. Budgeted hours here is going to be 1 or 3 hours. And let's say David here is charging $85 on his maintenance crew. And if he's done some overhead recovery for his financial systems, maybe he's breaking even at $42. That's what it's costing him to operate before he makes a profit. So difference between the 85 and the 42 is going to be his profit margin. Now, what we're going to do is build this out here for labor only, and we're going to add in the materials. So there's a couple different ways we can do this. We can build the materials in, but in this example, I'm going to build out labor and then materials. So once again, in this example, I'm assuming Dave has a 3-yard minimum, so 1 to 900 square feet at a 1-inch depth, and then every 300 square feet over the first 900 is an additional yard. So that's going to take 1 hour if he's doing it manually. And at 1 hour times the $85 an hour is going to get us $85. It's costing us 42. So that's our mulch installation. Dave had one more question regarding shrub trimming and bed maintenance. So let's say Dave doesn't necessarily have a production rate for weeding those beds. And obviously we have some. I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Maybe he's looking at it and this is just not your normal setup. So we're going to do bed weeding man minutes. How many minutes does he think it's going to take on a reoccurring maintenance process? Or maybe this bed weeding is when we go to do the mulch and that's included in it. So let's play that game here. So bed weeding man minutes, and that is going to be our custom field. So for 1 minute to 1 minute is, and if we took 1 minute divided by 60 minutes, that is 0.02. That's a minute. So if we took that 0.02 and multiply that by his hourly rate of $85 per man hour. Obviously, these are not David's numbers, but I'm going to put some real world examples in here so it's applicable to the video. And then we're going to go in and take the top lines and copy them right down because that's what he would be charging. So we've got our mulch installation at 1 inch. We got our bed weeding and man minutes. So those are going to be the two variables that David's looking at here to take care of his mulch installation, his bed weeding. And we're going to do shrub pruning. Final part of his question here. That's going to be a parent service. So we really don't need any data on there. That's just a service that we're going to be using. And then the final part here is we're going to drive that in here. And we're going to use some production rates of number of small, medium, and large shrubs. That's our service name. That is our custom field as well. And we're going to say for every one shrub, let's say that is going to be, these are not industry production rates, so please don't copy them, but I'm going to say 0.07 on here. And we're going to drive that in with a formula. So 0.07 times our hourly rate. And that is going to give us our cost. And this is going to be 0.07 times our break even. So you can see as the sheet now is going to be pumping out our profit and profit percentage. Let me just pop this bad boy over here and fix that up. All right. And our profit is, for speed, I'll just copy this in. So the beautiful thing about a Google Sheet here is if you are using a Google Sheet and you paste this down the line, it is going to copy those formulas down. So equals our, oh, that was our mistake was on my end here. So budgeted time is 0.07, 0.07 man hours times 85. There we go. That looks a lot better. And then our break even 0.07 times 80 or 42 bucks per hour. Profit of $3 at 50% net margin. So we're going to do the same exact thing here. We're going to take this 1-to-1 ratio and drive this across the bottom part of the matrices and keep our 595, our 0.07 man hours, and our budgeted cost. And I'm going to drive this right down through our small, medium, large shrubs and show you how to build this out in a software system. So we're going to bump this out to an additional number. Like I said, these are not industry production rates. We do have those, but we are obviously not going to be using these on the Facebook Live because a lot of times people will look at these and get themselves into trouble. So it depends how you set these up in your software. But I'm going to use some fictitious numbers here to get you set up. So I'm literally just copying and pasting these in, small, medium, and large shrubs. And in a Google Sheet or Excel sheet, as Dave asked, we could go in and drive some pretty good speed and efficiency as we're building these out. So now we have our numbers here that we're going to be driving for David's matrices. So we've gone in and done mulch installation, bed maintenance based on time, and now we've done shrub trimming, small, medium, and large shrubs. I also recommend if you're doing this hedgerows per the linear feet, with or without a ladder. These numbers should include cleanup on average. Time-based motion studies are the best way to do it. If you do struggle with that, let us know. We do have some industry averages that are really good. These numbers here are not industry averages. They're a bit fictitious numbers. I put in ultra conservative just to give you an idea of the workflow and how to set this up. So the final thing here is now that we've got them in, we've assumed that we've got our profit percentage. It's pretty consistent all the way across the board here of about 50%. We know we've done our math right. So we blueprinted it. Now it's time to implement it in our software. So what I'm going to do is go into Service Autopilot and actually break this down. So we're going to go to the gear icon and we're going to go in and create some custom fields here. That's going to be our first step. Those are those job variables. And we're going to go in and add a custom field. And I'm going to put some asterisks in here to do that just so we can find them. But the first one is bed square footage. And we're going to drop that in there. And that's going to be associated with the customer and the number. We're going to save and new. We're just going to walk down the Simple Growth Blueprint. Bed weeding minutes. How many minutes do we think it's going to take to actually weed those beds the first time we're there? Once again, customer number association. And we're going to go down, and now we've got our small, medium, and large shrubs. So we're going to copy and paste right down here for speed and simplicity to make sure we've got the right custom field. So we're going to go in now and grab our medium shrubs custom field. That's our job variable. So we're actually going to have people going out in the field or potentially customers submitting pictures of their property with some instructions. And those small shrubs are going to be less than 3 feet. Those medium shrubs are going to be 3 to less than 6, and those large are going to be from 6 to 10 feet. So this is how we actually created a production rate based estimating system in my company that I could delegate to someone who never actually trimmed shrubs, but they could count the shrubs based on a little training and the size. So now we've got our custom fields. We're going to go in and build out those services. And we're going to go in and go to gear icon services and build out our matrices for mulch, bed weeding, and small, medium, and large shrubs. So what we're going to do is go in and create these with a couple zeros in front of them here, just so I can find them. in this test account. And our first service, we scroll all the way to the top, is David's mulch installation based on a 1-inch depth and a 3-yard minimum. And we're going to go in, select our service mode and our invoice description. Our account is going to be maintenance services, and our class is going to probably be our summer class. And here is our estimate description. Installed at a 3-inch depth. All right, save. So we are working down the sheet now. We've got our bed weeding, and we're not going to call it bed weeding man minutes. We're going to call it bed weeding, and man minutes is our custom field. So we're going to go in and create our next service here that David asked about here. And I'm just putting some zeros in here just so I can find it. It's not going to be your best practice here for you. So in this instance, I'm going to make this actually a using estimates only, and go in here and create the account as maintenance services, and it's a summer class again. And I'll put the rate matrices in here, and then I'm going to go back and actually update the mulch installation with the matrices on it and use the description to say it includes the one-time bed weeding with install. It's probably a little more applicable to David's question. So we're going to go quantity rate times visits. We are going to go into bed weeding man minutes, copy and paste that. Now the blueprint is going to lay identical into service autopilot. So 1-to-1 is 142.02 and 70 cents. Top 5 lines go into the bottom 5 lines. And that is costing him, if he's charging 142, it's costing him 70 cents before he makes a profit. And we're just driving that equation now identical because it's a 1/1 situation. And we're going to hit save, and we're going to go back to our service of mulch installation. And we've got quite a few of these in our test accounts. Let me just make sure I've got the right one. It's going to be 117. So I'm going to throw a little asterisk in front of this here, so we'll make sure we have this. So I'm going to go into the estimate description here and update install depth of 3 inches. And David wanted to know about the weeding, so I'm going to go in and put one-time bed weeding prior to mulch installation. So now we're actually building that in to the process of the mulch installation. So that's going to be a parent and child service. I'll show you how that works in a minute. So we're going to hit save and new. And now I'm going into our shrub pruning. So we're going to go in and create a parent service and then tuck the other child service of small, medium, large shrubs underneath that. So that is going to be how we actually tackle this. And our account for this with David would be maintenance services. If he has classes, it'd probably be summer or maintenance division. And there will be no rate matrices on this because the math is going to actually be done on the child services. So as we go in, we are going to go in and grab these. And we're going to use an estimate only and quantity rate times visits. And it is going to be number of small shrubs. And from 1-to-1 shrub, we'll go back to the blueprint and actually see what that is. $5.95. And it is going to be 0.07 and 294 break even. And we don't need to look at the sheet because we know it is going to be the same production rate for each and every shrub after the first small shrub. So now we're going into our medium shrubs, and then we'll do our large shrubs, and we'll actually pull this all together here in the next 5 to 10 minutes, not even, and drive this into an actual production rate based estimating system, as David asked about, how to go in to actually tackle this from Excel to a software to delegate. This is actually the fun part of growing and scaling a maintenance business. So 850.1, this is how he is going to be able to do that. And $4.20. All right, so every 1/1 is 850.1 and $4.20. Save and new, and we got one more thing here. Large shrubs, estimate only, and I'm going to bring this across the finish line here for you to show you the workflow of how to actually drive out a production rate based estimating system from the simple growth blueprint, which is basically an Excel or Google sheet, and be able to delegate these. So 29.75 and 0.35. And if he's charging $29.75, it's costing $14.70 before profit. All right, so we now have all the basic steps that you're going to need to build out a price matrices from an Excel or Google sheet into the software. Final step here is that we are going to need to go in, and let's just make sure. Not, so I'm going to update this naming convention just so I can find it and use the right one, because in this test account there is a lot of large shrubs. We've shown this video a few times. All right. And let me just make sure before we go in and put this all together, everything is there the way I need it. So I've got a small, medium, and large shrubs, and we need to just grab our medium shrubs with that naming convention so I can find it when I pull it into the estimate template. We should be good. And there it is. So this extra step of putting this kind of naming convention on the front is just for me here on Facebook, because we have so many in this test account. Now we've got all our data that we need. The final part is David is doing mulch installation. We really want to go to the gear icon products and build out that product, because with some of these V3 estimates coming out, we probably want to be able to go out and track our labor and products separately. Now there are some instances when we do these deep dive or essay setups with clients that it's applicable to include the materials such as fertilizing and sometimes mulch, depending on the client's needs and reporting that they need. So if you've done one of these and we've included the product inside your actual service itself, that's okay. There's a reason why. So I'm going to put brown hardwood mulch. That will be the mulch service that we're putting in. This can also be done for pine straw in some of our southern areas as well. Default rate is what we're charging. So let's say we're buying it for 38 bucks. We're charging 50 bucks per yard for the product only. And there is no budgeted hours. Our income account is going to be our maintenance services. Cost of goods count is going to be materials. And we don't have to specify a class, but we can. And hit save. All right, so we're ready to go to drive this across the finish line here for David's question of how do we do mulch installation, bed maintenance, and estimating around size of shrub. So job estimate templates, we're going to go in and grab a template. And we're going to name this the star 00 Facebook Live Callahans Corner. All right, and we're going to add an item. And what we're going to do is go right to that simple growth blueprint and go from top to bottom. So our first service is going to be that mulch installation. And nothing like when your mouse dies in the middle of Facebook Live, but we got this here. So we're going to go mulch installation, apply, and then we are going to set our child service of bed weeding right underneath it. So we're going to go plus icon, not a product, but a service. And see if we got this here. I lost it in Facebook Live here because I've got so many test accounts. What I'm going to do is just go back in and actually go to this gear icon services and pull up and select this service and update it to make sure I'm pulling the right one. Obviously, this probably would not be happening in your account. If it is, I would highly recommend doing a little database hygiene. All right, and bed weedings. That was the issue. Let me update this service here so we know which one we're pulling in. And by the date, I am right here. So I forgot to put an asterisk in front of it to find it. But we're going to do that just to make sure we're pulling in the right one. So as I demo this, we've got the correct pricing that David talked about. All right, so we're going back to the templates. And we're going to hit that green plus icon. We're going to add that bed maintenance, bed weeding in. Remember, we've updated the estimate description. So now we know that that's included in the price, but the client's not going to see it. Shrub pruning, right now it's small, medium, and large shrubs. So we got to pull those into our job estimate template here. All right, and now we're going to create subservices from the blueprint. Once again, we're going to walk down and grab each one of these small, medium, and large shrubs and drive them into the matrices here. So once again, this *00 is just literally for me to be able to find these a little bit quicker. Plus icon, once again, we're going to go in, medium shrubs, and our large shrubs. All right, so what we've done now is we've got a fully built out system from Excel, like David asked about, building a production rate based estimating system that now handles our overhead recovery, our break even. The one final thing that we have not added in here is that mulch. So you go to green plus icon and add a product of mulch. Now that's in there, we're ready to rock and roll. So we're going to hit save and close. And we can go in and add a lead and put in our friend tester, and we're going to put their address in, billing address, and information here. And once we filled out all the property information, that lead would be in there. Just for speed, I'm not filling that all out. And the final process is we're going to go in and hopefully measure it online, use an on-site estimate form. But really, the question that was asked is how do we build that out? So I'm going to skip a couple of those extra steps. And I'm going to go in and grab our template. We may not have saved that appropriately. So let me just make sure what template we're working with here. Gear icon, job estimate templates is where we made that template. Screen around here on Facebook, it's easy to forget. So I just want to make sure I'm pulling up the right template here. That is right here, our Facebook Live. So that is the one I'm looking for. I'm going to make sure, final step, that while I was talking, I forgot, we want to associate to both and associate it to a estimate document, save and close. All right, once we're on that lead screen, we've captured the information, or we can enter it physically into the template. Don't recommend necessarily entering it right into the template, as I'm going to do here. I'd create an on-site estimate form or measure it online. And that would be the process of what we're looking to do here. I may have to X out of this to get this to capture my new template that I made. So we're going to go in, add an estimate, go to the middle header of adding a template. There it is. Apply, and everything should load as in here. So let's just say we've got a 1,200 square foot bed, and we think it's going to take about 45 minutes for one person to go in And we've got that information in there. And there's our mulch. And let's just double check our service here because it's not pulling up the service. We may not have connected the custom field in my speed here trying to get through this before my meeting. So this is going to be our, this is helpful too, just to kind of go through some troubleshooting because you will probably run into this as you're building them. So if no price is coming up, we want to go to the rate matrices, and through my haste, we did not actually update this. So this is going to be our bed square footage. It's our custom field that we made. Cool thing is if it's not a package, this will automatically update in the template too. So 1 to 900 was 225 in 3 hours. That's our 3-yard minimum that David was doing. It was every 300 over the first 900 was $85. 1 more hour and 42 is just break even. So we're gonna hit save. We are going to X out of this estimate. And now once we load this estimate, all the data should go in. So that's actually something that was kind of glad to happen through my haste of speed here, trying to get this done, is that you can now actually see what the troubleshooting methodology looks like. And you don't have to call Service Autopilot support. So if we put 1200 in there, that should kick in our price now at 340. We put our 45 minutes of the weeding in, that kicks that in. And based on 4 hours, I know I need 4 yards of mulch. So it's 603.90, 4.9 hours. Cost is 420.50, and our profit margin at 30.40, 30.4%. Final part here is we're going to put in the number of small, medium, and large shrubs. And let's say we've got 2 large. And that shrub pruning now is 306, 360. So we'd hit both draft a quote. All the customer is going to see is mulch installation with weeding for 603 and shrub pruning for 306. That's how you tackle your production rate based estimating on an Excel sheet into Service Autopilot. Callahans Corners, you ask the questions, we answer them live.